think parents sometimes, and I'm not a parent, so I can't, I haven't been through it, but I would like to talk about and understand. I feel like what we do to children sometimes is we read some advice or read some way that we need to raise kids, and we think it applies to every child. From what I've seen from my own observations, is that everyone's different. Every child has different levels of neuroticism, different levels of agreeableness, and et cetera, et cetera. But we tend to just pigeonhole. I mean, this is just me speaking what I've seen. It could be different for everyone. But we tend to pigeonhole how kids need to be brought up. Do you see that as a lot in your practice as well, and in your life?
For sure. For sure. Parenting is my deep expertise. I did my dissertation in parenting. I have 4 children. 3 of them are teenagers. And one of them is a 6-year-old, but she might as well be a teenager. She's around the other 3, and she just has a strong spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think parenting has parenting done without the child in mind and in heart, parenting without considering the child is not going to work. It's not going to work. And I have 4 kids, and each child requires a different mother. My eldest one, she was like my parent. She was, doing her own homework at 4 years old, and just really grounded and steady and focused and calm, and just, this rainbow child. Then I have a second, son who is super, super competitive and super athletic. And then I have a third one who's just like me, hot in the head, super, engaged with life, but then gets in trouble at school. And, teachers are always like, hey, this one, so like that kind of kid. And then I have the fourth one who's just a mix of everything. Each one requires me to engage with them differently. Each one requires me to be a different kind of parent. And I think if you have managed people before, then you might make a really good parent, because you can't just be a manager. If you truly are a people manager or a people leader, then you lead people in the way that speaks to their spirit and it inspires them, and not just tells them. And so that's one thing I would say about parents, is that each child will require a different parent in you, and a different skill set in you, and a different way of being in you. So you just need to be ready for that. If you just come at parenting in the way, this is who I am, and they're just going to have to deal with it, not going to work. And you will have an ODD child, because they're just defiant, because you're not listening perhaps, or you're not paying attention to what they might need or how they might need it. My second child has a hard time with transitions. He really settles into something. And then if I say, okay, come on, you got to go, he's going to have a violent reaction to that. I picked up on this guy needs a little bit more time to transition. So I start telling him 30 minutes before. The other guy, come on, guys, let's go. But this kid needs 30 minutes. This kid needs 3 seconds, because he's ready to go on go, So it's just who is defiant here? Who is being, so it's really about considering the child, in my opinion. And in my experience, I should say. And I have worked with children with ODD. And I swear to you, if you talk to them as if you're talking to a 40-year-old, you will not have any ODD. But you need to give them the respect of a 40-year-old. And it's worked like magic. And I would say in my experience, because my first half of my career was mostly with children that I worked with. And every single time I had someone with ADHD or ODD, I spoke to them as if I was speaking to a 40-year-old. I did not tell them what to do. I asked them what should be done. I asked them what I should do in a session. How would they like to go about this? I was super real with them, because they can cut through the BS and all of these, therapy ways of doing things. No, they won't. They don't want it. Talk to me like a real person, and I promise you will get someone real. And I have like 100% success rate with that population. I just know how to engage with them because I was a bit like that. But I know my heart is super good, but I just don't, I just, and someone, I don't know who said this, but to be adapted to a sick society is no definition of like normal, in my opinion. And so some of these kids that are opposing some things, like, don't disrespect me, talk to me with respect. And now, oh, the teacher calls them defiant. But if you speak to them with love and care and consideration and respect that they demand and command, they will not have defiance. And I'm just speaking about, obviously there will be some people that will be like, no, there are some kids that are antisocial and really, neurologically not well. Okay, I'm not talking about that crew. I'm talking about like the majority of kids. Of course, there will be people in the tipping points on the edges that are outside of the realm of what I'm speaking about. I'm
As
just
there
speaking,
always is.
yeah, I'm just speaking about the run-of-the-mill ODD, ADD.
Wow, that's powerful. I think a lot of kids these days are getting those labels because it's a lot more convenient to label than it is to work through something. It might take an extra bit of effort that people, or I don't know, whoever it is that's dealing with them, to invest in it. And that's what people need. Time is the highest value, and time with the right intention, I think, is the highest value.